SGA once again. Little hesitation. The left hand. What a move by SGA.
Another block. Chet Holmgren, the long arm of the law.
In the game. These are key minutes without SGA. And another drive. J. Dom cocks it back and throws it down.
This is Dort. You're listening to the Uncontested.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Uncontested Postgame Show. I am your host for this evening, Justin, as the Thunder lay it on the Nuggets 149-106. We are proudly part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and brought to you by Prairie Artisan Ales. If you don't already, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on all the socials. Drop a 5-star rating. And make sure you hang around because this was a beatdown. Here to break it down with me tonight is my guy, Taylor Peterson.
Justin, I'm not sure how closely you follow boxing. But
Not at all.
That is how you throw a counterpunch.
Okay, I know what a counterpunch is, though.
That was impressive from OKC. That's exactly what we wanted to see.
Exactly what we wanted to see. An incredible game tonight. We have so much to break down. Thank you for tuning in with us at nearly midnight on a Wednesday. Shout out the degenerates that always come through. Jacob's going to be joining us shortly. He is currently on his way home from Paycon Center, where he got to see the whooping in person.
5 minutes away is what he's told.
5 minutes away. But we couldn't wait. We couldn't wait to break this one down because the Thunder come back after the heartbreaker in game one. Fair to say maybe a must-win or a near must-win scenario in game two. You've watched every road team win in the second round of the playoffs. You watched the Knicks stun the Celtics in the Garden on their home floor again to go to put Boston in an 0-2 hole. Cleveland's in an 0-2 hole. The Thunder had a task at hand, and it's safe to say they accomplished what they needed to accomplish tonight, Taylor. Big initial takeaway from tonight's game for you.
Like I said, this is how you throw a counterpunch. This is exactly, honestly, everything we hope for as Thunder fans. I would have been happy enough if we were on this post-game podcast, game two, and the Thunder pulled off a close victory against the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
Yet they came out. They came out aggressive. They threw the first punch, and they were able to keep their foot on the pedal, keep their foot on the neck. Is that
it's late
term? I know.
On the neck, on the pedal. I think they both work.
All the
different
above
ways.
All the above. But my favorite thing is they didn't let up, regardless of those analogies. So
flawless so far. I expected this type of performance in game one, honestly. That's kind of what I expected. Denver coming off an emotional game 7 win. They're tired. They haven't had a break. They didn't get a break before game one. Oklahoma City's been sitting at home vibing. I thought this is how they would come out. I think game one was necessary to give this Thunder team the sense of urgency that they showed tonight. It was clear they took it personal, and they came out tonight on a mission from the word go, looked like a completely different team, looked like the more aggressive team, looked like the more physical team, and quite frankly, looked like the team that we saw for 82 games in the regular season, which is not the case of how they looked on Monday night. You said it really well, Taylor. It was a counterpunch. It was a response.
I'm not sure how well. But
well, you didn't say it that well. Touche. They responded. Skelton hitting us with a super chat already. Might have overreacted. We reminded Denver -1 quarter who the better team is, but the refs need to chill with the whistle. This game was a reset, is I think how I would describe it.
Skelton, that's really interesting because two specific national media people in the NBA on X.com. I was told that the Thunder got a God tier whistle tonight.
God tier. Quote.
God tier.
Actual quote. Yeah, it is interesting. I'm not sure said God tier whistle accounted for 43-point deficit, but what do I know? I also shout out Luke in the chat. saying what's on my mind. Where are all the Denver fans at? We had so many Denver fans in our show on Monday.
They'll be back in the comments, I'm sure, with all their rebuttals.
They'll be back at some point. Maybe not tonight. They were talking biblical levels of trash in our YouTube comments from Monday's show. Like, you would have thought, not only would you have thought Denver won the series after game one, you would have thought they won the series to win another NBA championship. Like, I've never seen a reaction like that from a game one before.
Now, to be fair, Thunder fans, certain Thunder fans also acted like the series was over.
Yes, right.
But guess what, Justin?
It cut both ways.
It wasn't. We got an incredible performance from OKC. Being the stats guy on the podcast, as I'm so often called, there's some incredible stats tonight.
There are some historic stats from tonight's game. Why don't you share some with us?
The Thunder's first half, I believe their 87 first half points were the most in NBA playoff history. Their 149 points tonight are the most by a team through 4 quarters of a playoff game since the Clippers scored 154 in 2020. Shout out Justin Russo. He's a friend of the podcast. And it's the most outside of the bubble since 1990 when the Celtics scored 157. And that includes the Thunder throwing in really a bunch of garbage time minutes there down the stretch.
Pretty much the whole fourth quarter was garbage time.
Which there's still some fun things to break down from that.
There was.
And we'll
there
get into
absolutely
that as well.
Was.
But the final thing, actually 2 more things. Thunder Communications, Thunder PR mentioned that the Thunder set a playoff record for the team with 149 points tonight. They also set a record, an OKC record, with 8 players scoring in double figures, which is pretty crazy. Previous to that, the Thunder's record was playoff record was 6 players with double digits. Just a very balanced scoring effort tonight from OKC.
Insane. You had all 5 Thunder starters going for double digits in the first half. To end the game, you have Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Dort, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and AJ Mitchell all going for double-digit scoring outputs tonight. Incredibly impressive from pretty much everybody on the roster. Skelton giving us more money. Winning like this is how you send a message. Absolutely send a message to the Nuggets and to the NBA at large. They are the only team that is taking care of business at home so far in this second round.
Great point.
One guy that I want to start with, there's a million places we could start this, but because Luke has a super chat for us, J. Will looking like the depoy out there. I want to start with J. Will, and the reason I want to start with J. Will is because one of the things we talked about on Monday night was the Thunder's approach to defending Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
Nikola Jokic, who went 44-22 in game one, looked unstoppable. The Thunder played Chet as the primary defender on him quite a bit, which was surprising because that wasn't really something we saw much in the regular season. It looked to be more Hart's role. Tonight, we still saw Chet play that role some, but it definitely felt like they shifted back to putting Hart in that primary role and then brought J. Will in as kind of a change of pace guy that allowed Mark to stagger the bigs differently. But J. Will was awesome on Jokic.
He was incredible.
He didn't play a ton of minutes on Jokic. He played 12 minutes total tonight. But when he was out there, his size prevented Jokic from getting to his spots, prevented him from making the types of moves he wanted to make. He was making everything difficult for Jokic. And he hit a 3. Not much more you could ask for from Jalen Williams minutes. Incredibly impressive stuff from J. Will. Really savvy move from Mark, I thought, from a strategic perspective. I'd love your thoughts on J. Will tonight.
Agreed. And that's kind of where I want to start. Obviously, if this doesn't work well, Mark's going to need more criticism. But after some criticism that he had, the way that the Thunder executed down the stretch in game one, I mean, it wasn't like iHeart started bad. iHeart actually started, he had 6 points, 2 assists, and a perfect 3 of 3 from the field in the first 4 minutes. Then Mark subs in J. Will for a change of pace with 7:36 left in the first quarter. And like you said, I loved how you mentioned him J. Will coming out aggressive and guarding him aggressively, Justin, because one thing that I mentioned, I had so many coworkers come up to me and ask about this, and Chet and iHeart both having 5 fouls.
Yeah.
The advantage you get with J. Will, he doesn't have to worry about that. If he gets in foul
Great
trouble, who
point.
cares? He was playing aggressive without fear of the whistle, and it played to the Thunder's advantage. It got Jokic out of rhythm, and then you were able to stagger each of Ihart and Chet, and also play them together again in the second half, and really kind of, shut Jokic down as much as you could have, right?
Yep. Jokic, 17 points tonight off 6 of 16 shooting, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, a minus 36 in the game tonight. And fresh from the Paycom Center, we have Jacob joining us this evening.
With the shirt on.
Still rocking the free shirt. Jacob,
Still rocking the free shirt.
we just started breaking this one down. We started off talking about J. Will on Jokic. Open to your thoughts on J. Will, or what's another big takeaway from you from this one?
Well, kind of continuing on that J. Will talk, the Thunder started with the Thunder started with pause.
Got distracted. Here it is. For those of you listening,
Breaking out the
not
headband.
watching, not watching live, got the headband on.
Thunder started Ihart on Jokic and Chet as the weak side, which I thought that's what they should have done in game 1.
Yep.
And they have found over the past 2 years a lot of success with J. Will bodying Jokic and Chet being the weak side. And J. Will just brought a level of anger and physicality that I was in love with. J. Will's out there beefing with Russell Westbrook.
Yes.
Like the Malcolm in the Middle meme. The future is now, old man. Hey, shout out Paycom Center for booing Russ. I am proud of you.
Yes.
I am proud
That's a growth moment.
He got his flowers in game 1 like he should have. And then after that, it's just he's the enemy. He's
no
the
friends
odds.
on the court.
I know you guys said
Except
you started
Spalding. Am I right?
I know you guys said you started with J. Will. Have we just talked at all about just how big of an ass whooping this was?
I started off with some.
Has it been mentioned that they kicked their ass so hard that their foot went up the hole and they wore him like a slipper all night?
On that note, Blue 91 in the super chat, Denver got ducked in the arse is what he has to say. We also have Dave Wu. Aaron Gordon woke up a beast. Don't ever fall asleep, OKC. Our goal is not just to win this round. We need chip level basketball plays.
Hey, we had kind of talked about, well, I didn't because I wasn't on the pod, but in the group chat stuff, we had talked about maybe winning game 1. Like if Aaron Gordon misses that shot, it's like, oh, hey, we played bad and we can still win. This was the wake-up call. And, dude, the level of physicality from the Thunder in this game warms my heart. Like they came out from the word go and just wanted to beat their balls like a drum. They were hitting the glass. Shai was like crowding people defensively, shouldering dudes. He threw Jokic off of him. And I would also like to shout out Nuggets fans upset about the whistle. I'm sorry, you can't throw elbows and body slam dudes in the NBA. That's just how it is. I would also like to invite all the 35 Denver Nuggets fans who were in the comments on Monday.
Exactly.
Bring your ass. Bring your ass.
The Nuggets fans' viewpoint on Jokic's whistle is insane. It's insane to watch Jokic play basketball. I get it. He takes a lot of contact, but that's because he initiates it.
Yep.
He's looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then complains when he doesn't get it.
And then complains when he doesn't get it.
And I really enjoyed the defensive philosophy today. We'll see if it pays off, Justin. But tonight, especially to start the game, was very much Jokic likes to get the ball in that mid post, get the double, and then find the guy cutting or find the guy on the weak side. And the Thunder just crowded the paint. And we're like, hey, if you try to throw it in here, we're going to steal it.
Yep.
And that resulted in like late contests on Christian Brown corner threes. I'll let Christian Brown beat us.
Brown, 1 of 6 from the floor tonight.
Russell Westbrook from the corner. And Jacob, that's what we talked about heading into the series when we did our, I think it was us 3 when we did our part 1 of the round 2 preview that we did. You have the Thunder have the perimeter defenders to be able to just disrupt those passes when Jokic is trapped or stuck in the paint. We didn't see that in game one at all. And they brought that physicality. They brought that defensive intensity, and that was great to see. And I find that really interesting, contrasting to game one, where Alex Caruso was the guy who brought that for the Thunder defensively. Tonight,
hey, no second half Caruso minutes.
Yeah,
which I think was intentional.
And I think is huge, right? Get him. He was getting beat up in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking the brunt of some of that physicality. I agree, Jacob. The physicality from the get-go was huge. It was a marked difference from game one. It sucks that it took a game one loss to awaken it, but that's the OKC that you've seen all year. That's why Nuggets fans are pissed. I saw so many tweets of like OKC fouls 2 to 3 times on every possession. Yeah, and they have for 87 games this year, and they're gonna keep doing it. That's how they play defense. Shout out Chris Finch.
Yeah,
if they want to play physical, get ready, because that is how they're going to play. It's not going to change.
Justin, that led to the offensive opportunities, the transition opportunities that we talked so much about with the Thunder. If they're going to win series, ultimately, if they're going to win a championship, it comes down to that transition offense. How many lobs did we see tonight in comparison to the past 2 seasons?
There was like none in the last game.
Shai threw an incredible lob to Dub. We had the double big connection.
Yep.
Chet and iHeart on both sides of the ball. iHeart was dishing. I mean, I know we can get into individual players, but I know iHeart didn't have the biggest like stat night tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he had an incredible game and made some incredible passes there, especially in the first quarter. We were playing through iHeart again, like we talked about. In our playoff preview, our round 2 preview.
Yep.
Playing through iHeart, allowing him to find those backdoor cutters. Like that's how you beat these teams. And it was on full display tonight.
Well, there was a lot of, they had to start sending the double and the trap to Shai off the pick and roll, especially there as the second and third quarter went on. And then we've talked about this a lot. When that comes, it's the short roll to Isaiah Hartenstein and letting him just play make. I felt like, and letting him play making 4-on-3, and they just tore him apart. The Nuggets went to a lot of zone tonight, and I thought the Thunder just picked it apart beautifully. There were so many great possessions against the zone. That
was great to see, because it hasn't always looked great this season.
Yeah, they had a very specific plan to attack that zone. I really like that. A lot of it was flashing Shai to the free throw line, which I thought was really good. But guys, talking about physicality and how the Thunder approach this game, there's tons of individual guys we could get into, like Shai posting the best plus minus in an NBA playoff game since the play-by-play era.
Stat.
Through 3 quarters.
30 minutes of game time.
Yeah, 11 of 13 for 34, 4 rebounds, 8 assists. I mean, just took the Nuggets to hell. Jokic, 6 field goal makes, 6 fouls, 6 turnovers. But I think for us, the story coming out of game one was the Thunder, A, did a lot of things wrong, and B, did not get good games from their second and third best guy. Tonight, you got 17, 4, and 7, and 2 blocks from J-Dub on 6 of 11 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. But he took 6 free throws. And then you got 15 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks by Chet Holmgren, who went 7 of 7 from the line. And for me, guys, the big thing was J-Dub put his head down and said, "You're putting Christian Brown on me. I'm going to the front of the rim. You got Jokic playing drop on me. I'm going to the front of the rim. You're going to soft switch and let Aaron Gordon get off of me. I'm going to the front of the rim." And he just did that over and over and over, and was just in a relentless attack mode, which is what we wanted game one. We felt like he was kind of settling game one.
Yep.
And he did it tonight.
He went through contact tonight, whereas in game one, it felt like he was trying to bounce off it or go around it. He just went right through it. And that's part of why he ended up at the line a few times. That's why he's able to be more effective when he drives in with confidence. When he tries to finesse guys, I feel like that's sometimes when it falls apart. Couple more super chats that have come in. El Sombra Reggio, the Nuggets' worst playoff loss was by 44 in 1985. So our guys just gave them the worst playoff loss in 40 years. Hell of a response. Thin Blue 91 back again. Denver got their balls beat like drums. SGA equals MVP. And Skelton still complaining about the whistle. Refs blowing too much. Pause. Where's the playoff whistle?
Love it. Love it. But hey,
Fired up.
Continuing on J-Dub, I was thinking we were going to see a big response from J-Dub and him having a big scoring game. And that wasn't necessarily the case. Only 17 points, like you guys mentioned. 6 of 11 from the floor is awesome. Getting to the line is awesome. 0 of 3 from 3. All of his three-point shots seem to be short.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing I love is something we talked about a lot during the first round against the Grizzlies, is him finding the balance between being aggressive and attacking the rim, and not just trying to score and get to the free throw line and get his shots, but creating for teammates. He has 7 assists tonight. He did a masterful job. Masterful job.
He was awesome.
And we got a lot of the two-man game by the bigs tonight. Chet finding Hartenstein on back cuts. Like they just, here's the thing. Game 1, it felt like 20 things went wrong. You started 0 of 10 from 3. You got out-rebounded by 20. You got a bad Dub game. You got a bad Chet game. You had Jokic in foul trouble and couldn't foul him out. You gave up 1 million fouls in the fourth quarter. You botched the foul up 3. Like everything went wrong.
Yep.
For the Nuggets to have a chance at a last-second shot to win. Tonight, everything went right, and you beat them by, what, 43, right? If you find the median there and it lands in the middle, which seems fair,
yep.
Nuggets do half the stuff right, the Thunder do half the stuff right, you're looking at like a 15-point win.
Statistics, Holmes.
Statistics, Holmes. Now, the Nuggets are embarrassed, and they're going back to their home court, and they're going to want to prove a point on Friday.
Yep.
If the Thunder can grit out a win on Friday, I got to tell you guys, I'm feeling really good about my Thunder and 5 pick.
Yeah.
Friday's a big game. The momentum swings one way or another. If the Nuggets punch back and go up 2-1, Game four is a lot of pressure back on Oklahoma City again. That's the playoffs. That's how it goes. Mm-hmm. The Thunder have shown they can punch back, and I think that's important for this Thunder team.
Absolutely.
Because last year, everybody after Game 1, not everybody, there were a lot of comments about deja vu from the Mavs series. If you remember how the Mavs series played out, Oklahoma City whooped Dallas in Game 1. Dallas won Game 2. Dallas won Game 3. You can feel much better about trading games and your ability to respond. Then I think that losing 2 in a row starts to shift the momentum a little bit further. Not insurmountable, happens all the time in the playoffs, but I think that the ability to come back and even the series at 1-1 is huge. They're going to have to do it again, or depending on what happens in Game 3. They're either going to have to come out and take advantage of the series and put all the pressure back on the Nuggets, or they're going to have to prove that they can even it up again. But they've shown that they can do it once, and I think that's a nice step of growth for this Thunder team, because that is the first time they've really had to do that.
Absolutely. And kind of circling back around, Taylor, I know you were not impressed with Lou's defensive performance in Game 1. Lou shot 4 of 13 tonight.
Yep.
But defensively, I thought was on another level.
He was engaged.
Night and day.
He was locked in night and day, spot on. The thing to me that always stands out when I'm watching Lou defensively, I mean, and it's obvious, he's such a great perimeter of attack defender, and his ability to be able to, or point of attack, not perimeter.
There it is.
He's a great perimeter defender, great
Yes.
point of attack defender. He really struggled to navigate around screens in that first game. And tonight he did such a better job of that. He essentially, I mean,
how many moving screens did he draw? Like 3?
Yeah. Which
that
led to
last
Jokic being fouled out. Right?
That last Jokic one was my MVP wouldn't give up and intentionally foul himself out.
Jokic was pissed off and was trying to make a point. You're right.
Yeah.
But
still.
Game 1, that allowed Jamal Murray to kind of get going there early, right? And I thought Kaysen did a much better job when he came in defending him. That wasn't the case tonight. Lou pretty much shut him down early.
Well, I thought Queso was good on him too.
Yeah.
He
Queso
continued
did
to
play
be
great.
But
Yeah.
when you have Lou Dort coming out aggressive like that on the point of attack,
Absolutely,
it's a game changer. You have to set the tone, right?
Exactly.
We talk so much about that. We talked about it with
it's
the
much
open threes
easier
in
to
the corner,
prevent a
Jacob.
fire than put a fire out.
Correct. And we saw
Well said.
Russell Westbrook is another perfect example of that. Guess who didn't get a standing ovation tonight? Russell Westbrook. Guess who
Russ
got
was
boos
chirping
tonight?
at the fans.
Guess who got boos tonight
Loved
from
it.
OKC? Russell Westbrook. Guess
Guess
got
who was
pissed
getting
off?
his ass whooped and played recklessly tonight?
Russell Westbrook. And that is how that's huge, right? You have to set the tone. And that's the biggest thing. The Thunder aren't going to hit 70% of their shots in the first quarter like they did tonight and in the preceding games on the road, right? But when you set the tone like you did defensively, that's how you're able to stay in games and ultimately pull out wins.
I did think that the Thunder's offensive strategy and attack today was so much crisper. I mean, how many open, in that second quarter, it was just open three after open three after open three. Queso banged in 2 or 3 of them.
Well, it helps when you shoot 75%.
We haven't talked about Aaron Wiggins. Yeah,
for sure. But it was a hot shooting night, absolutely. But the offense they were generating, I think, I'm not saying they're going to shoot that way all the time. That's not going to happen. But they were generating good looks. It's not like they were throwing in last second shot clock beating threes over an extended hand. They
weren't stuck late in the shot clock like we saw happen quite a bit in game 1.
Exactly. And a lot of it was attacking Jokic.
Yep.
Which, to that point, we talked about J-Dub, 7 assists, Shai, 8 assists. When your primary ball handlers are creating like that, that's what happens.
The open threes were huge, but the attacking the paint, we touched on it a little bit earlier with J-Dub specifically, but attacking the paint from the get-go was big. Oh my gosh. I'm not reading that comment. We do have a super chat I will read from Drew Purden. Hype game. Convinced myself the X days of rest versus Denver going to 7 games versus the Clips is why we came out so flat in game 1 and obviously led to what was needed tonight. Thunder in 5.
Hey, I still got Thunder in 5, baby.
Love it.
I'm feeling good.
I thought the physicality and the aggression also manifested itself in rebounding. The final rebounding stats, not that dramatic, 44-38, Thunder out rebound. But I wish I had the number of what it was at the end of the third quarter because the gap was larger and it was felt. From the beginning, Oklahoma City was throwing guys on the boards a lot more aggressively than game 1.
Well,
where Christian Brown was just helping himself to rebounds.
I've got you, Justin. And by
of course you do.
And by when I say I've got you, our good friend and co-host of the podcast, Nick Crane, has you.
I'm not familiar with him. I don't know who you're talking about.
He's busy watching his Dallas Stars. He had 2 playoff games on at once tonight. From our guy, Nick, the Nuggets only had 26 rebounds through the first 3 quarters of this game. Jokic had 22 of his own in the opener.
Yeah.
So only 26 rebounds through the first 3 quarters for the Nuggets. I agree completely. The Thunder were aggressive. They were rebounding. They were getting missed shots when they weren't missing. It helps when you're making your shots, right? But they also were getting back defensively.
And it was everybody, right? Shai had that one where I forget who he out jumped, but he out jumped somebody. I think it was AG too. And he grabbed it with 2 hands. And you don't typically see that a lot from Shai. It was clear that was a point of emphasis for them coming into this one.
And it's weird. There's no single, you would think if the Thunder out rebounded the Nuggets, you're looking at the 2 bigs, right? And the leading rebounder for the team tonight was Chet with 11 rebounds. Outside of that, you had Ihart with 8, you had Shai with 4, you had J-Dub with 4, and it was just super balanced outside of that. Yeah. Aaron Wiggins was the next player
5.
with 5. Extremely balanced.
It's so important, not just because obviously rebounding is important, but with as much as Denver likes to push the pace, the less chances you can give them to do that, the better. And when you can secure rebounds, it disrupts Denver's game plan a little bit. And I think the aggression that OKC showed on the boards right from the get-go set the tone for the game. And that's why the doors blew off so quickly.
Jacob's locked in. He's looking something up.
Oh, I'm just reading some of these quotes. David Adelman tonight. We got punked. You're right, buddy.
You're right.
Congratulations, mad TV looking ass.
Justin, we've talked about a lot of the players tonight, a lot of the great performances that the Thunder had. Should we go ahead and give out our King of the Prairie?
I think we should.
Prairie Artisan Ales player of the game.
Let's give out our King of the Prairie, brought to you by Prairie Artisan Ales. I was enjoying a buzzer beater tonight, unlike Monday night where I was really not enjoying a buzzer beater, not the beer, the actual play. Tonight, the buzzer beater was doing me well during the game. Taylor, why don't you tell everyone who our King of the Prairie for this evening is?
Think you got to give it to the MVP himself, which will hopefully finally be announced next week. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 11 of 13 from the floor, only 1 of 2 from 3. Fellas, I got to say, I kind of like that stat. He was attacking. He was being aggressive. He found the perfect balance between distributing and finding his teammates and still being aggressive. And 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Only 2 turnovers. Shockingly enough, had 0 steals and 0 blocks, which we've become accustomed to him having more of those stats defensively. And I still thought he played a really good defensive game. But the most important stat here, he only played 3 quarters and had the highest plus minus in a playoff game and the play-by-play era with a plus 51. Insane. Absolute dominance from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's how you respond.
He looked like a man on a mission from the beginning. He was being aggressive. He was being assertive. He made some ridiculous shots tonight. Like the one where he was floating to his right and got it off the glass. This stupid.
Well, he also had the, I don't know. I think my 3 favorites from him tonight. One was in the third quarter, in the second half, where he drove in on the, I'm trying to visualize it. Drives in on the right side, gets a switch with Jokic, basically like picks up the dribble, hits like a step back, pump fake, step up and under layup, which was sick. He had the fast break lob to J-Dub, which was sick. And then J-Dub hits him on a baseline cut. And I don't know if I've seen Shai dunk that hard.
Yeah. Agreed. He had a couple tonight.
He got up and like 2-handed that thing. Both fists in the hole.
Gross. What's really encouraging, like not just a great game, but we've seen Shai struggle in the playoffs this year and not look efficient. 11 of 13 shooting.
He got whatever he wanted tonight. He got to his spots. Like
most players can't do that against air.
And still balance that with grading for teammates. That's exactly what we talked about after game
one. Nothing was forced. Nothing was forced.
Yep.
Yeah, and here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, there is nobody on the other side that can guard him.
Yep.
The only way they slow him down is one on him, funneling him into the paint, somebody else shading, and then the guys guarding the corners cheating in. And literally just taking the ball out of Shai's hands. They want to funnel shots to Lou, and Shai said, I don't care what you want to do. I'm whooping your ass tonight. And that's exactly what they did.
Yep. But we talked about it on the preview. Blue again. Another super chat from Thin Blue 91. Shackle Jordan?
Sounds right.
I'll allow it. He was unreal. He was unreal tonight. We talked about it on our playoff preview for this series that not that anyone can, but the Nuggets are just not sound enough defensively. I can't pronounce this. Shaquille O'Neal also in the chat.
Going 11 of 13 in the paint. You ain't wrong.
Indeed.
11-11
at the free throw line, though.
That's true.
The Denver doesn't have the ability to stop Shai. Not that anyone does, but tonight was exactly the worst case scenario for Denver defensively. Obviously, anytime you give up 149 points, probably worst case scenario. But Oklahoma City was able to utilize what Shai was doing himself to set up the facilitation. To your point, Taylor, I think he's always a threat to score, but when he's scoring like he is tonight, he demands so much gravity that it opens things up for everybody. And that's why, to your point earlier, Jacob, Second quarter, it just felt like they were finding open shot after open shot after open shot because they were using a lot of the drive and kick action to just free guys up because you have to respect Shai's drive so much because anywhere from the 3-point line to the restricted area, he's a threat to put in a basket.
And it helps when those opportunities. Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Another
I
super
know,
chat.
another super chat.
Alex says Denver's coach looks like a Shrek baby.
There's been so many great comments. And our guy Silva's been on a roll talking about the Nuggets.
Silva's quote.
Coach.
I can't stop thinking about Silva's comment that David Adelman looks like someone tried to draw Silva with their eyes closed.
We have Shareem Abdul-Alexander.
It's another good one.
Queen Shaquifa. I don't think I like that.
No, don't like that one. That's great. I was just going to say it helps when those when you're attacking the paint and transition, and just kind of a bigger overall theme. The Thunder forced 20 turnovers, had 34 points off those turnovers, and 26 fast break points. They were back to playing their brand of Thunder basketball, which is great to see. But one question for each of you. Usually we we're talking about our prince or king of the prairie, and we always have like a prince of the prairie because there's always somebody else who kind of steps up and it kind of makes a conversation. Tonight, it was very clearly one king of the prairie. But I think if we're looking like a quote unquote prince of the prairie, there's so many options because it was such a balanced scoring effort and defensive effort from the Thunder. So I'm just kind of curious your guys' thoughts on some other players that stepped up tonight. We talked about J-Dub, obviously. We talked some about Chet, some about iHeart, but anybody else who really kind of stepped up tonight that caught your guys' attention?
I'm reading Nuggets quotes right now, and I'm so happy.
I love it.
Loving it.
Love it.
For me, I think it's Dub. I think Dub's my Prince of the Prairie. We touched on it earlier, but the aggression and decisiveness, I think, is huge for Dub. He was getting a lot of negative criticism after game one. I think, again, some of it, I feel like a lot of the negative comments that happened after game one were really just maybe old wounds from the Mavs series last year that bled out because there were some similarities to how the Thunder lost in game one against Denver. I think some of the shortcomings of J-Dub in that Dallas series were coming out from Thunder fans after game one. To see him respond tonight like he did, it's huge. He's been awesome this playoffs, despite what they said on TNT. Who was doing color tonight? Why am I blanking on his name?
Whoever was
Taylor, help me.
Iron Eagle, and I can't remember the other one.
Grant Hill. Good
Grant
grief.
Hill. There you go.
Grant Hill was like, yeah, J-Dub has not had a good playoffs. Not like he was in the regular season. Like Grant, buddy, he had a bad game one, but he's been awesome.
Agreed.
And it was nice to see him return to that
under
tonight.
Playoff games in the first round.
Well, I mean, granted, who really, other than Thunder fans, who was really watching that first round that closely?
Fair.
He was awesome. He's been awesome, and this team needs him to continue to be awesome.
And I think he still has a whole other gear to go. This was the right first step, and I want to see him just not, look for his shots the entire time and continue to play a balanced game like we saw in the first series. But I think there's yet to be a Dub 25 plus point game, for example, right?
That was my bold prediction of the series that Dub would lead all Thunder players in scoring in one game this series.
So, Justin, when I asked you guys that question, we got a J. Will comment, and we've talked about J. Will, how great he was against Jokic defensively. I think we already have covered that. Just kind of like two birds, one stone here. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, great to see them. I mean, it's not like they had huge games, and Isaiah Joe's stats are a little padded there because of that fourth quarter when he played and was hitting his threes again. But to see Isaiah Joe find that confidence again from three, seeing Aaron Wiggins come in that second quarter.
Wiggins was great, man. He earned that extended play time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wiggins was fabulous.
And look,
the tip slam coming over on the backside when Denver was trying to go zone, nobody boxed him out, and he punished him for it.
It was awesome. Look, I know this doesn't matter, and it was a blowout. AJ Mitchell's a dog.
AJ,
Yes.
I knew that's what
And
you
that
were
was
gonna
one I
say.
wanted to. Yes.
AJ's a dog.
Yep. I
He
alluded to
came
that
in, he
when we
said,
started
you
the
know what?
podcast.
I want in on the ass whooping too, and just banged a 3 in like the first 15 seconds on the floor.
Guess what? I'm healthy now.
Yep.
10 points for AJ, 4 of 7 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3, and 13 minutes there in the fourth quarter. He got in a little early in the third. He's awesome.
He's awesome,
Somebody
dude.
you have to be
It's-
really excited about moving forward. Honestly, has he been good enough to warrant a little bit of time in the second unit in these
No.
games 3 and games 4?
No.
I don't think he's there yet, but it's exciting to
too high
remember.
I got the questions tonight from people. Just
It's
asking.
exciting to remember how good he was.
Right.
Right?
Dylan
I kinda
Jones
forgotten.
Burned my column.
No. No.
No.
Usman
absolutely
Jang, no. AJ Mitchell, maybe.
God, if Usman Jang is subbing in the game, you know you're getting smoked.
Yeah, that's right. No, and you're right, Jacob. I mean, we're talking about guys like Aaron Wiggins who can come off the bench and perform like he does, and he still can't get in the regular rotation. But it's still great to see AJ come out and just look great again after not
AJ
playing
was
very
awesome.
many games.
AJ was
Agreed.
awesome. All right.
Game 2 was a whooping.
Game
I'd love
3.
to know, like, looking ahead to game 3, right? Oklahoma City has to head to Denver. Altitude
It's going to be
coming
a
our
war.
way. It's gonna be a dogfight. What's one thing that you guys are looking for in game 3 that you think you need to see from Oklahoma City in order to be sitting at a 2-1 lead in the series?
Role players have to continue to play well. Denver's going to come out with something to prove. They are going to ramp up the physicality. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some scuffles on Friday night. They're going to ramp up the physicality. They don't want to get punked again. The Thunder have to come out with a mindset of not of like, hey, we played good in game 2, like let's keep it rolling. It needs to come out like we are the underdog, we're scrapping, we're fighting. And you just have to get good games from guys like Dub and Chet again. If you get this Dub and Chet again on Friday, you win the game. I think it's that simple.
And I think that's big because, you know, the adage is that role players play better at home than they do on the road, which makes
I
sense,
think
right?
Dub and
So,
Chet are like a little more than role players.
well, yes,
but those
you're-
other guys
much
aren't going to
more.
play as well. So you need the Dub and Chet games.
I would argue there's still room to grow for each of J-Dub and Chet. And our guy Nick mentioned this in our group text earlier tonight. I mean, Chet was only 3 of 8 from the floor. He had a pretty poor offensive game. For being honest, he hit some big 3-point shots. That was great. He played incredible defensively.
Getting to the line is an offensive skill, though.
yeah,
100%.
Agreed.
But he's got to put together another complete game, right?
Yep.
We've talked a lot about that with Chet coming back from injury. I like that, Jacob.
What I was
think
going to add was you can expect Denver's role players to play much better at home.
Right.
That's a big reason why they blew out the Clippers in game 7 is because their role players went off.
Yeah.
And
well,
I
let me tell you
know-
something. When I'm making a list of people I believe in, Michael Porter Jr. ain't on the list.
Dude, MPJ looks unplayable with that
I was
shoulder.
going to
And
mention
when
MPJ.
When I'm making the list of my 100 men who are fighting the gorilla, Jay Will's on the list. He got added to the list tonight.
I love it.
Yes, he did.
MPJ did not wear his quote unquote shoulder pad tonight. He
He did in the
KT
second half. He
Oh,
didn't in the
that's
first half. He
interesting. I
came
missed
out
that.
after halftime with it.
Yeah, that's not great.
I'm gonna guess he gets an injection before game 3.
He's been
And-
getting injections, and he says he doesn't like them.
Well, so that was his quote
course he
after
does.
game 7 was like, I don't think I can keep doing that, but he got one before game 7 and he was awesome in game 7. So if I were a betting man, I bet he's getting a shot before game 3.
For me, game 3, defensive intensity. Like you guys mentioned, it's not likely the Thunder are going to go into Denver game 3 and hit the shots that they did tonight. It's probably going to be somewhere in the middle of game 1 and game 3. But if they are able to at least keep up that defensive intensity, it doesn't have to be everybody again, right? Like we saw Alex Caruso provide a huge spark like he did in the first round and like he did in game 1 of this round. But if you're able to keep up that defensive intensity, and just the intensity in general, crashing the boards, getting back in transition defense, that's going to give you a chance at the end of the games. And if you have Shai playing at this level, making his shots, J-Dub and Chet, like you guys mentioned, it gives you a chance to win the game. So that's a huge thing for me.
Yep. And don't get punked on the boards. That's like the biggest one.
Yep.
You
Totally
think Michael Porter Jr. is getting an injection of ivermectin?
Unbelievable.
He doesn't like shots, so I hear.
Yeah, of any kind. Anyway, I agree with what you all said. I'm going to be looking for discipline on offense. I think the team. What's that face? Is that at me or something else?
Oh, the comments.
Oh, never mind. I see the comment. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that comment. The Thunder going on the road, exactly like what you said, Taylor, they're not going to hit the shots they hit tonight on the road in Denver, most likely. The Thunder need to stay disciplined offensively. I thought late in the fourth quarter in game one, that's when stuff got sideways, when the Thunder couldn't buy a bucket. They couldn't generate any offense, despite having their best guys on the floor. And we saw tonight what the Thunder's ceiling is offensively against this Nuggets defense. The Nuggets defense can be good in stretches. They're long, they're lanky, but they're just not that good of a defense to be able to shut down this offense. I want to see Oklahoma City trusting the process offensively and being able to get buckets when it counts, because I have a feeling game 3 is going to be a little bit closer than what we saw tonight.
Rock fight is my prediction.
A rock fight with
close.
gorillas in a cage match full of fire. That'll do it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out with us. Way too many of you in here with us after midnight on a Thursday now.
There's not way too many. There's not enough.
Well, you know why there's not enough is because none of the Nuggets fans came tonight.
That's correct.
Yes.
For some reason, they're not interested in tonight's show. We'll be back.
Thunder fans, but there's not enough.
We'll be back Friday night with more Kendrick Lamar references. Be sure to join us after game 3. We'll be breaking that one down. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, Thunder up.